And you're listening to Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life. You are welcome back. This is Smooth Breakfast, and it's time for Business Express, brought to you by Stanbic IBTC. Joining me live via Zoom is Rotus. Rotus, good morning to you.
Hey, good morning, Judith. Good to be with you all again. Good morning to all our listeners out there.
Absolutely. So you can join the conversation as always. Remember that we're streaming live on YouTube right now. So go on to YouTube. We're at Smooth 981 on YouTube. And you can also join the conversation via WhatsApp on our WhatsApp number. The number is 0809-444-0981. Again, 0809-444-0981. Roaches.
Yeah, aviation. Mr. Hadi Sirika, the aviation minister of state for aviation, said yesterday after the latest Federal Executive Council meeting that Nigeria Air, the planned national airline, is still going to happen. Well, he said all things being equal, it will launch in April of 2022, so April of next year. And I believe he said the initial capital that is needed is between 150 million and $300 million. Remember, this thing was suspended in 2018. They didn't really give a reason why it was suspended. But Adi Sirika keeps saying that they are sourcing a strategic partner via a procurement process. Then that partner is going to take a 49% stake in the new carrier in Nigeria Air. It says the Nigerian will not own more than 5%, while local entrepreneurs will hold a 46% stake. I don't know who those local entrepreneurs are. And, you know, Hadi Sirika, he really seems hell-bent on getting this national airline. He has been championing this thing for years. The Buhari administration only has less than, about a year to go on, the elections and then everything like that. So about a year to go until the elections. So I don't know if this is some kind of legacy desire on his part where he badly wants to see a national airline. But for our listeners, look, just to put things in perspective, if you are the one that's saying you are going to hold no more than a 5% stake in this airline, that means you're a minority shareholder in the airline. You can't keep banging on about wanting to float an airline and you are the minority shareholder, right? So what I'm saying is that if there was going to be a majority shareholder, we would have heard from that shareholder by now. If the listeners of Smooth FM wanted to be the majority shareholders, then Yinka, Benga, Kamo, everybody else that listens to this thing would have put their hands up and says, hey, we're looking to put money as a majority shareholder into an airline. You would already have heard majority people, whoever is interested, shopping around to do this. But all we ever keep hearing about this airline is coming from the minority shareholder, or at least proposed minority shareholder, which is the federal government. And so it looks like it's the federal government, or in particular, the Minister of State for Aviation, Mr. Hadi Sirika, who is just pushing this thing and pushing his thing. The aviation business is a thin margin business. It thrives on holidays. It's Thanksgiving. It's Thanksgiving in the United States today. It's a public holiday. Mm-hmm. So airline traffic has really picked up. People are flying to go see their families across the different in America. They've booked flights and things are looking good. I understand that, is it Singapore? And who borders Singapore? I had this information just 2 seconds ago. I think it's Singapore and Malaysia. Let me take a look. I have this. Anyway, there are two countries that have relaxed their borders in order to allow flights between each other. It's Singapore and one other country. So airline, the point I bring that up to say that airline traffic is picking up. The pandemic, it's Malaysia, it was Malaysia. Yeah, Singapore and Malaysia partially reopening borders to allow flights and interstate travel and all that good stuff. But anyway, point I'm saying is the airline industry has been hit really hard due to COVID-19. It's been one of the worst hit sectors, and it is still recovering. So is this the time when you're still seeing a recovery where you want to launch a national airline? Not sure if it makes business sense at this point. Plus, if you look across Africa, Kenya Airways, is it Kenya? I think it's Kenya, yeah. Kenya is looking for money from their federal government. The federal government of Kenya pledged $750 million to support Kenya Airways. Kenya Airways has been making losses since before the pandemic. They are looking for another $250 million. So they're looking for more money, right? South African Airways, I understand that they actually, in fact, this is good news. If you're looking to travel to Johannesburg from Lagos, they are resuming flights from Johannesburg to Lagos to Johannesburg in December, I believe. So South African Airways, they suspended these flights for Lord knows how many years. South African Airways is another national carrier that has been making losses since before the pandemic. They've been looking for government bailout after government bailout. There's been so many issues going on in South Africa. South Africa has it. So, I think the only profitable airline on the African continent is Ethiopian Air. Right now, with the whole Tigray situation and all that political turmoil in Ethiopia, things are not that. So I bring up Kenya, I bring up South Africa, I bring up Ethiopia to tell you that a national airline is not very profitable, right? And, you don't have that many flights anyway. How many Nigerians fly? I know they want to turn, Nigeria into a hub, but it's just not that profitable. And so it remains to be seen. Remember, there was a whole, they went to the airline fair, they released a logo that cost how much money. I heard it was outsourced to a foreign company. They didn't even get a Nigerian to design that logo for Nigeria Air. And then it just never took off. So, for him to come out again after this Federal Executive Council meeting and say that they're going to launch this airline, all things being equal, quote unquote, by April 2022, I have my doubts. But hey, if an investor comes forward with the money, because that's what this thing is all about, you need the money, then we'll see what happens. Now, look, I shared a video with you. There's a viral video on the Abuja-Kaduna highway where security forces are engaged in a gun battle with suspected kidnappers. That's what the video caption says. I shared that video with you. I'm not sure you can share it with anybody else who wants to watch it. Nigerian roads are dangerous. I haven't traveled by road in like 10 years, all right? I haven't traveled by, I can't even try it. They're so dangerous. That is pushing more people to fly, right? And domestically, at least, with Christmas coming up, the aviation industry, it looks like it's picking up. Sadly, because of the insecurity on the roads, and also because there's a kind of a rebound and it's Christmas period and hopefully more people will be flying. You've got eBomb Air, you've got Air Peace, you've got all these other domestic airlines that are doing well. So domestically, we've got airlines that are okay. Okay, why don't you nationalize one of these domestic airlines? eBomb Air is owned by Akwa Ibom State. That's a sub-national airline. So why are you going around looking for airlines when you've got a whole ton? Like the federal government took over, was it Aero Contractors? I think it was Aero Contractors, but they took over because of what is it now? The Amcon took over Aero Contract. So look, there's enough airlines. If you want to nationalize an airline, why don't you just take a domestic one or merge one or two and go from there? So look, that's how we're seeing it right now.
We have messages here. This is Sefri Asha from on YouTube, and it goes, is there an act of the legislature authorizing the creation of a national airline? Is this even legal? That's from Asha there. This is Ugo from Surulere. It goes, good morning, Judith. It's more practical to upgrade the airports and get the infrastructure to global standards instead of this airline project. As we speak, the air controllers are threatening to go on strike. Can't we just get one thing right? And that's from Ubu there. Benga Kambu comes with, can Nigeria Air really create 70,000 jobs? These are ministers. I just wonder. That's from Benga Kamu.
Thank you, Benga. I forgot to mention that he did say the Benga is always on top of these things. Thank you, Benga. I forgot to include that. He did say to create 70,000 jobs. 70,000 jobs. Check this out. Just to put this in perspective, Samsung, the Korean company, announced that they are building a $17 billion chip making plant in Texas, in America. $17 billion, and that thing is only going to create 2,000 jobs. So, 2,000 jobs in, I know these are different industries. There's semiconductors and chips, and we're talking aviation, but airline creating 70,000 jobs, and it's only $300 million versus a semiconductor chip base for $17 billion, and that one is only creating 2,000 jobs, and it's chips that they are making.
Something in adding up.
I wonder about those numbers, huh?
Yeah. This is Matthew Falabioki asking for the video. I'm going to share that to you. This is Yinka Bello, and it goes, does Hadi Sirika aware that the UK government does not operate BA? Rotus, remember I was angry yesterday about the government actually engaging in projects that affects me. This doesn't affect me in any way. Why not nationalize the airlines APCON currently runs? That's a question there from Yinka. This is Gilbert Musa. It goes, good morning, Rotus and Judith. We need to investigate what led to the collapse of Nigeria Airways in 2003 and the exit of Virgin Nigeria Airline from Nigeria, and learn the lessons before considering floating another national carrier. Oganel Chuko comes here with, I felt this arrangement with the private sector will work, but when local investors was mentioned, I bet you it will be a disaster. The only public-private projects that works is NLNG. It was a foreign investor. I think that's what it's trying to say there. This from Yaba goes, good morning. Don't you think if the federal government gets involved with any airline like Ibom Air, it will be a recipe for disaster? What does the federal government do right these days? That's from movies there with a very rhetoric question.
Look, those are solid points made by our listeners. Thank you all for those points. Especially the point about what happened to Nigeria Airways, Virgin exiting the country. These things, they start off well, but can they be maintained? On the matter of strikes, yes, I think even in the railway workers are on strike because they say their salaries have not been increased over time. If you look at South Africa Airways, the unions that are linked to the airline workers for South Africa Airways, they've been battling over salaries and compensation for years. So, it's always, you launch these things, but then maintenance over time is the issue. So as per usual, our listeners have brought up some very pertinent questions, some very excellent points. Look at the point about we already have enough domestic airlines. So look, I don't know, we'll all be here. All right, we'll all be here in April of 2022, Zeus willing, and we'll see whether this thing works. But I tell you, I have my doubts. All this shouldn't come from the federal government. It should come from let us hear that a private investor has come up and say, hey, I have $200 million. I want to drop it in Nigeria to start an airline. That's the news should come from whoever that investor is. But if between 2018, you shut this thing down, nobody has come forward. I don't know. Let's see. That's what makes the business environment very interesting to talk about in Nigeria. Thanks.
All right. Yeah, you're most welcome. We have 3 messages here. Let me see if I can squeeze them in as we get out the studio. This is Otunuga, and it goes, Rotus, we need to dissipate our energy on the issue of national airline. In the private sector that we all 95% see it as viable, all good and done. This is Yinka. We don't have national telecom operators since NITA, and we're doing fine. So why this? Adeyinka goes, stop that, bro. By the time we have 5K, asking Oga, you go buy tickets, 10K sweep, five pilots, 20K doing photocopy, 10K doing social media, 5K as pro. We'll have 70K jobs. He's broken down the numbers. Broken down.
Great messaging. Great messages from our listeners. Thank you,
as
guys.
always. Thank you guys for your messages, and thank you, Rotus, for joining us today. This brings us to the very end of Business Express, brought to you by Stanbic IBTC. Stick around. Coming up at 7:30 is going to be time for Freshly Pressed 981. Stay with us.
Beyond the headlines.